Well, Beck and Sandra, welcome so much to the Red Hot Truth. It is so exciting to have you here to talk to you about a topic that's really close to my heart, which is friendships. And as I said, I've done an interview on friendships already. And as I said in that interview, it was really interesting to me that so many studies show us how important friendships are to our health, to our happiness, to our success. And yet there's so little teaching us how to form long-term friendships. And I'm really interested in that at the moment. And I didn't want to speak to a relationship coach, or I didn't want to speak to an expert telling me how to do it. I wanted to speak to people who are in a good relationship, good friendship, so we can learn from them. So the first question I have, of course, is where did you guys meet?
Yeah. So actually, Sandra messaged me yesterday because she told me that you got the year wrong. You said 2005. It's 1995. But
1995.
We've been friends for 25 years.
25 years this year.
So I almost fell off my chair because I just didn't realise it'd been that long. So we met in primary school. So I'll give you my perspective because I think it's quite funny. So I was in year 6 and I loved meeting new people even then. And I was so excited because we'd had the same group of friends the whole 5 years or whatever. And we got told 2 new girls were coming. And I was like, great, one of them's going to be my best friend. That's what I told everyone. I hope I didn't offend anyone that was already thinking they were my best friend. Anyway, so there's Sandra and there's another girl, Claire. Well, Claire's famous now, so I chose the wrong one.
Yeah. You did.
She tells you this all the time.
What's she famous for?
She's in a show called Nashville in America. So
wow, wrong friend.
Everyone loves her. She's very, very
like
good.
A famous singer and so she got stuck with the dad.
Too late now.
That's where we met when we were in year 6. And we just, I don't know, we kind of instantly became friends.
Yeah, I remember I was new, so I came from Portugal when I was 10 and I had moved schools a lot. So I had moved schools nearly every year, but this one was, so I built friendships, but I didn't really allow myself to build long-term friendships because I knew that, we'd gone into this pattern of moving. But I was a bit more settled when we got to year 6 because I knew I was there. The reason I was there was to then go into the high school next door. So I knew I would be there for at least 7 years. So I'd had that commitment from my parents. But I remember there was a couple of the girls who I guess everyone was fascinated with the new girls. Maybe they were all sick of each other. So they all did come up, but I don't know, it's just something about Beck and I. We were stair monitors one day, which is when you monitor people walking up the stairs. And she turned to me, she said, we're going to be best friends. And I was like, yeah. And then that's how it happened. And we've kind of always been like best friends on the side, but we haven't necessarily, like through the whole of high school, we weren't even in the same group of friends. We weren't in the same circles. And, I'm like, we'll talk about it more, but I moved away after high school. I moved to Portugal for 6 years and went to uni. So we were long distance friends, like we wrote to each other. And I think when I got back, the day I got back, or like a few weeks, we caught up and it was like, so what'd you do yesterday? It was like time... so I feel like there's just some key foundations about us that has kept our friendship alive because it hasn't been an easy one. I think we've made this friendship stay alive. Like it could have been easy to lose touch.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. So I'm really interested in that. So because often what does happen is friends do move apart because we live in a very nomadic sort of lifestyle now. People do travel and they study somewhere else and they meet partners and they do move. And it's easy to lose touch. How then did you guys work through the challenges and maintain that friendship? Like, do you remember what you did specifically?
I think we wrote letters.
Yeah, initially it was letters. Yeah, because there was no Instagram or Facebook.
So old now.
There wasn't even, like, emails were just beginning, you know. When I moved to Portugal, I remember we used to write letters and we'd send each other photos in the letters.
And I know I loved receiving mail. So, like, it was a real treat to open the mailbox and get a letter. Like, I loved it. I still love it.
Yeah.
Me too. I still love it. And what else? Like, what else did you do? Like, what did you say to yourself about the friendship? Was it like, this person's really important to me and I'd love to stay in touch with them, or you just had a connection with each other knowing that, you know, you could speak to each other about anything? Or what specifically was it? Because, I mean, it's easy, as letters are fun, but it's so easy just to let it drop.
Yeah. I don't know that I specifically said anything to myself. It was just, like, I don't even know if I was conscious to it. I just knew that like I had a connection with Sandra like I hadn't had with anyone else, to have a space where I didn't feel judged, or like I could completely be myself. And at that age, like when you're like, what were we, like 18, 19, you know, like it's an age where everyone's judging everyone, you know, and we're very different. But it works so well. Like, same as my husband. I said that today.
Yeah, exactly. And we've both, like, our husbands, we've both met them at similar years. Like, this year is my 19th year with my husband, and Beck's, year 20? I think you met Mikey a year before, something like that. So I think I was reflecting, like, for me, what kept drawing me to Beck, even in high school, I had my own friends. I felt like there was never any demands. Like, I could go and explore the world, explore my friendships, explore other people, and I can always come back to Beck, and she was always there. It was like a safe place, and I never felt like I was going to be like, you know how sometimes you have friends that demand things of you? You need to see me this, you need to do this for me, or you missed my birthday. I feel like our friendship has never had these requirements. Like, when we were in Portugal, we could go explore the world, find ourselves. There were times we don't talk for a while, and then we notice it's just this thing. We'll text each other, like, and then we go, oh, like, it's like this thing missing, like we need to catch up. So I think that's a big one, because sometimes I think people put and I find that exhausting, to be honest, because I am a bit of a free bird, and I've actually had to say to people who I've been friends with in the past and say, like, you're expecting too much of me. It's too much work. Whereas I feel like our friendship, it's just we've wanted to put in the time and effort. It hasn't felt like a demand. That's how I would sum it up.
Yeah, so what I hear from you guys there is that really understanding what you need from a friend, or what you want from a friend. So not need, because a relationship built on need seems to not work. So you were just saying, Sandra, it's like, I am a bit of a free bird and I need freedom. How important do you think it is to your relationship or your friendship that you know yourself and are able to communicate that to each other?
Yeah, I would say that about you too. I think we've like, one thing that we're always on a journey of becoming. We're always on a journey of self-discovery. I think that's one thing we're constantly, like, every time we catch up, we're learning from each other all the time. You know, Beck introduced me to meditation, which now I've been obsessed with for a year and a half. And you know, we've just always been curious of each other's lives, I think, because we grew up so differently. So I think I'm obsessed, because I actually think Beck is more of a free bird than me. So I crave I grew up in a really structured, strict household. So I had this obsession with how Beck was, and she didn't care. Like, she's always been very comfortable in her own skin. And I think I have been too. I've always been confident, but I've like been on this search of, I still am, like, trying to figure out what, you know. Like,
do you have anything to add, Beck?
I think
I don't think so.
Yourself quite well.
I just agree with what you say. It's interesting, because when I say that we were quite different. I just thought then, I was like, the essence of us is the same, and I think that's probably what keeps us connected. Like our values are very similar. The way we handle things, like what we care about, all of our values and beliefs and stuff are very similar.
Like our foundations, which is like
great.
family,
integrity,
100%, truth, honesty, being real to yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I just want to put in here that if you're hearing gurgling noises and baby noises, it's not one of the ladies, encouraging each other. It's actually Beck's 6-month-old beautiful boy joining us today. So he's learning something from Mum and her bestie today. So we're so happy that he's here, because he's like the happiest baby I've seen in a very long time. Isn't he? He's super cute. So you touched on it a little bit, and I'm interested in exploring this, because I find that often we learn how to do things because it's modeled to us when we are younger. So I'm interested in how your parents modeled friendships to you when you were younger.
I don't think mine did, to be honest. Yeah. I spoke to my stepmom about this the other day. I had such a craving because I didn't super feel like I belonged in my family, so I sought friendships more than I did family.
You belonged in our family.
Yeah, when I often feel like
She's
I do.
Part of our family.
Yeah, I think I said that to you. They speak Portuguese, and I sit there and I feel like I understand, and I don't understand a word. I don't feel left out. It's so funny. It's
like my mum and dad have known about Beck since we were 11. Like they just.
So I don't know that
completely part of our family.
Yeah, I think it's more that we feel like we're family to each other. Now, if that makes sense, then
But family in a respectful way. Like I'm very conscious of. I don't know. Sometimes with like immediate siblings and stuff, there's this resentment, or there's some. I have a really close relationship with my brother, so I don't have that, but I see it in other siblings. Whereas we're very respectful and. Like not in a way like I couldn't imagine doing anything that would hurt Beck, where I sometimes, So like family, because it's how I feel about my brother.
And did your parents have lots of friends, Sandra? Did they have close friendships?
Yeah, with us, for me, we were constantly entertaining. So we're a big Portuguese family, but we weren't big here in Australia. So most of my family's from France, from, Switzerland. They're like some in Canada. So we're a bit all over the place. So when we moved here, my parents built very close friendships as well with people that became family. So maybe that's like for me, I guess I never thought of it that way. But when like we still have friends that we met when we came to Australia. So Mauricio, like all of them, that now I'm friends with with the kids that my parents were friends, and my mum's still friends. So for me, I've always, you kind of like when you find your people, they become your family. But then my mum was also very quick to eliminate friends who she didn't feel were genuine friends. So I remember a very young age, and I do that. Like I have no qualms in if people are not adding value to my life, or I don't think I add value to theirs, or there's no connection, I don't waste too much time there. And I noticed that my mum did the same actually. When she had people, like if she'd heard that they were talking about her behind her back or trying to drag her down rather than lifting her up, she's like, oh no, we're not going to invite them over again. Or, she was very clear boundaries.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I giggle with Portuguese family because we just went to Portugal in September last year and I loved it. But my first experience with a Portuguese family was my brother's friend. Now, my brother is 5 years older than me, and I grew up in South Africa, in Johannesburg, South Africa. And we went round to their place for dinner, and I'll never forget this. I think I was about 11, and so welcoming and so warm, and we're all sitting around the table, and they shoved wine in my hand, which I was so like, okay. And it's like, have some Portuguese wine. I'm like, oh, okay. But the one thing I do remember even more than that was that they served chicken, but it hadn't been plucked properly. Like there was still like a bit of feathers on it. And ever since then, I was like, I'm not having Portuguese chicken again.
You've been gypped.
The wine helped. Such a beautiful place, Portugal, and such warm people. Like I really enjoyed it so much. So Beck, I went to visit Beck this past weekend, which was really nice to meet in person. And Beck mentioned something that we were talking about valuing our friends more than our romantic partners. And Beck, you mentioned that there was one time where Sandra prioritized her partner over you, and you felt quite upset about that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what was going on for you?
I didn't even know.
I know, it's interesting because, okay, so what happened? I don't even remember. It was just that we were going to hang out one time, and I remember Sandra saying that she couldn't hang out, and we hadn't made plans, but she couldn't hang out because she was going to hang out with Paolo, which is her husband. And I remember thinking at that point, like, well, that's weird. Like,
can you cancel on me?
Like, why would you put your husband first? And I went away and thought about it. And initially I was upset, and I went away and thought about it because this is, I suppose, something we've chatted on a lot growing up, is that what we both do is go figure stuff out in our own head and then come back to the other one and say, this is what happened. Yeah. But we're working on sharing stuff with each other more because we realise it makes us a lot closer.
Yeah.
But in this instance, I went away, processed it in my head, and it actually made me then go, oh, God, I should put my husband first, which is something I've been saying for a long time. Just a different person to tell me that.
I guess I never even I always feel like we can be ourselves, and, you know, I'm sure there's times we've hurt each other, but I just never feel like there's going to be anything we're going to do where it will ruin the friendship. I think we'll probably go away, we might get annoyed at each other, process it all, but eventually we come back and talk about it. So I feel very safe in that, and I can be selfish sometimes and prioritize my family. I did that.
I don't think that's selfish, though.
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing out of that interaction was that it it taught me like how to prioritize that relationship, because my husband should come first over our friendship. That's not a bad thing, you know. Like
sure, I didn't even think about it.
And if I hadn't done that, it, you know, who knows where we would be? Do you know what I mean? So it taught me a lesson that was beautiful, and I needed to learn. I'm happy that I learned it. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I love that you share that, because the other two friends that I interviewed, one of the friends also said that she had prioritized her friends over her marriage, and she learned, she's now divorced, not because of that particularly, but she also, no, I don't think so, but she also noticed that she does need to prioritize her life partner, and then her friends come second. And I was just interested when you mentioned that the other day. I was like, well, that's so interesting that you mentioned that. And I also feel that comes down to personality a lot for me, because I know I'm similar to you, Beck, that I love meeting new people. I love hanging out with different groups. It energizes me. It fills my soul. And so just to hang out with the husband, it just drives me insane. I can't do it. So
you need a balance, absolutely. And I think, like, I feel super lucky because, like, our families hang out. Like, my husband will come over here and hang out with them. Like, I'll just be here and he'll drive home from work and he'll just pop in his work clothes, you know, and hang out here. And like even yesterday, Sandra messaged me and goes, it's our 25-year anniversary. We need to go out for dinner.
Date night.
Yeah, to have a date
We
night.
used to have date nights. I'm like, we haven't had date nights since the kids came along.
And then my husband goes, I'll just call Paolo and see what he's doing and hang out with him. And I go, no, you have to stay home. Flynn has to go to bed.
Those days are over.
Yeah.
It's used to fatherhood. I love that. Thank you for sharing. So I'm very interested because there's an 85-year-old Harvard study that said the quality of people's relationships determines how happy they are and how boldly they live. And I wondered if you agreed with that, if you feel that because of your friendship that you felt safe and bold and courageous enough to build a life that you want to live.
Yeah, I mean, Beck's giving Flynn a couple of entertainment. I definitely think so. I think that in my friendships in general, but specifically my friendship with Beck has made me a better person. Like, so I say that in equal, obviously my relationship with my husband, I've grown and learned from him, and I've grown and learned so much from Beck over the years. So I definitely think, but I've never felt like it's been in a way where it's competitive or you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. I just feel like it's been a development, an internal development. Like the things we always share and talk about as achievements, it's always internal growth. And I feel Beck's always been a little bit more ahead of me in terms of her EQ and her emotional. So I've learned so much from, oh my goodness, I can't even, that's definitely helped me to like just feel more confident in my relationship, in the way I raise my children. Oh my goodness, like that was something I've had to learn to. Yes.
I think like for me it's massive to have someone that you know that you can go to tell them what you've achieved, because there's such tall poppy syndrome here in Australia, like, so for me to be able to go to Sandra and go, like when I wrote my book, I'm like, oh my God, I wrote this book. She's like, oh, I need a copy, blah, blah, and wants to read it. And, like and that's real. Like, and
yes,
like she meant it. She wants to know about what I've done and she wants to share it with people and celebrate with me. And having someone who can celebrate that stuff with you and genuinely like care about what you've done and achieved, I think that's really, really important, because that won't always be your husband either. Like I don't, and if you just have like friendships, I think is so important, because yes, I put my husband first and then Sandra, but you have to have both, because he can't be everything for me. That doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was actually just thinking, I have this very vivid memory, Beck, when you started on your personal development journey and you had made this massive decision. And you had made this massive decision, and like it was a bit controversial because it was this turning point for you. And I remember you telling me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And like, I remember you taking a step back and like not expecting my reaction.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, I didn't expect, like, and it almost made me feel like maybe you'd told someone else and you didn't get the same reaction. I don't know, but I just, I don't know.
Was it at Bruce Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. The sweet, yeah. I don't even remember what it was about, but I do remember the moment. I remember feeling accepted. That's what I remember. Yeah.
And Flynn's like, yes.
I know, he's so loud. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. This is the red hot truth, and the beautiful thing about it is we just roll with it. This is life, right? So just let me know if you need a little break. It's all good. I was speaking to my friend Amber, and she's a wellness coordinator for a high school, and she was saying that these days girls in particular are getting too reliant on their friends. So if one friend in the group has an eating disorder, by the end of the year, all those girls in that friendship group will have an eating disorder. And I wonder what you think is going wrong there, because it looks that kind of friendship is not serving anyone. So what is it that those girls are doing wrong, you think?
It's, for me, it feels like they're lacking, like there's like that sense of self, like, because it doesn't, I think that's and when we say we're so different in the way that we do things, like I think that's celebrated.
Yes.
Like we don't have to be a clone of one another, because that would be so boring. I think, like, I don't know if it's because we want to learn from each other, or I just feel like in that situation it's funny because that exact thing happened in our year at school.
Yeah.
Exact. I feel like maybe we were the only two who weren't going through that. Like everyone had bulimia. They used to show videos in PE classes of the carpenters. Remember
I remember in my group there were, people were sharing how they were
how to do it, and it was like everyone just wanted to be like the other person.
I agree with you, Beck. I think like the thing we've always been very strong like is the self-confidence, knowing, so I think that comes to how we grew, I don't know, but I've always been very confident in who I am. I haven't always felt like I've fitted in 100%, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind not fitting in 100% because no one can be like me and I can't be like everyone else. So I think the difference with our friendship is that I think we embrace the differences and we embrace, like when Beck comes and tells me she's done something different or new or started, like I'm really excited. And like recently I started yoga. And I mean, I share it with my husband. I don't get the same excitement, whereas like I was really excited to share it with Beck because I feel like that's something she would understand. He's happy because he's seen me evolve. We're almost two months into it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, I get that, right? Because the husband and I are quite different too, and so I love. He's really happy that I'm doing yoga, but he doesn't really appreciate the essence of it and how hard it is, right? Because yoga is really hard. It's like God. Yes, and I absolutely acknowledge what you're saying. I feel that we get told continuously that we need to have a sense of belonging, that we do need to belong. But I feel that we can only truly belong when we belong to ourselves first. And we can only truly show up as a good friend and as a valuable friend and contribute to that friendship when we show up as ourselves and when it comes from a place of love and not need. And this is something I've learned in my own life and like a lot in my own life because I've come from a place of need a lot, and it's only now that I'm older that I'm coming from a place of love, which means I have self-accepted myself, which is awesome. So my last question for today, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and your truth with us, is you guys have been friends from a young age, and even though you have been apart for a while, you still have that beautiful what's the word I'm looking for? The beautiful foundation of your youth and growing up together. But there are lots of women who are traveling and are in new places who want to make deep friendships. So what advice can you give to them on how to make friends and how to maintain deep friendships?
Oh my God, that's it. It's a heavy question.
I think what you just said is perfect. Like to be yourself, because I think if you're anyone other than yourself trying to make friends, they're only going to be superficial because you have to take that mask off at some point. And then I also think to just be really open. And don't have an idea of who you think your friend should be. Do you know what I mean? Like you can make friends in the most weird and unexpected places and they could be your best friends for life and they might not look like what your previous friends have been, So just
100%. Yeah. That's a really, I guess the way I can answer that question is that the friends I've made as an adult, so I've got Beck and I've got a couple of other, family friends who've been around, but now as an adult, I kind of just the foot that I put forward is who I truly am. So it's like, this is me, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I do. And then the friendships meet you halfway. So I've met many women, especially with my kids going to school, a lot of the school mums, a lot of the dance mums. So I've had an opportunity to meet lots of people, but I've only gravitated to one or two. And it's not necessarily the two that I thought would look or have the family or the idea what I thought. Like, I just had no expectation, and it's been the ones I've gravitated because for some reason there's something that connects us, but I feel completely myself around them as well. So I think it's don't try and mold yourself to that what you think the other person wants you to be, because that you can only fake it for so long. So that's probably the main. You have to be consistent to yourself, because then they love you for you. Otherwise, the friendship will be difficult to last if you're trying to be someone you're not.
Yeah, that is so relevant. And I wonder, though, with the concept of making time for friendships, because often, and Beck and I have spoken about this, is there's this narcissism called busyness. I am so busy. And even though sometimes women articulate that they want friendships, they don't make space in their lives to nurture those relationships because they take time to nurture. So what do you think about that? So how did you guys deal with that? Was it something that, you made friends with the people who were already in your life, like you were saying, Sandra, like the school mums, the dance mums, they were already there. You didn't have to make an extra effort.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to go about it, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Beck and I's friendship is a bit different. It's not a friendship of convenience. We have to make an effort to catch up, and because we don't live near each other, but there's a want. It's not like it's not a need. Like, so I think you do have to, from time to time, you got to touch, and it may not necessarily always be face to face. It might be phone calls or texting or. Like I noticed, like I've gone through this period of being away from social media, and I felt like that was okay. But recently when Beck had Flynn, I was like, no, we need to set up a system so that if I'm not seeing his photos on social media, we need a page where you put them up there so like I can see them. So I felt like I was, you still need to kind of keep in touch with that, with what's happening in their lives, and I didn't want to miss out on him growing even a day, like I don't want to miss out on any stages, because I know we can't see each other every day or every week. So that to me, like I didn't want to, missing milestones was like a big thing. So making time, and then I think so. With the new friendships I've made, they've been out of physical, either the school mums or because it's just, I'm already so full with everything else in my life. It's much easier now with the kids and sport. But then even in that, there was a big group of people who I met, and there's only been one who I make an effort to see outside dance time, because we've genuinely built a friendship. So that, Yeah,
and I think it's quality over quantity.
Same.
Like if you don't have to have thousands of friends, like just make time for the ones that you do value, And also, they also don't have to last your whole lifetime. Like you can have beautiful friends that you're friends with for a few months or a few years. They don't have to be friends for life. Sometimes things reach an expire and people grow in different directions, and that's also fine.
Yeah.
I think I feel very, very grateful and lucky to have this friendship that has lasted, and I don't feel like it ever won't last. Like it's gone long enough now that we're stuck to each other.
Yeah, so like we're going to be old ladies and like whinging about our husbands.
Yeah.
I love that. So look, I say to the audience is just listen in to the beautiful lessons that keep coming out from this. And what I really hear from both of you is, first of all, know yourself and show up as that person. I mean, that's really valuable. And then also just love your friend for who they are. And it's a place of love that it comes from, not a place of need. And when it comes from a place of love, you want to be part of their lives. And even like you were saying, Sandra, you're like, I'm more social media, but I want to be part of this. So let's make a plan on how I can be part of it. So you actually initiated that effort. And I just love that. And I just love how you also articulated that you are both different people and with different viewpoints and different ways of processing things, and yet that enriches your lives and your friendships so greatly. And I think that's just so beautiful to see. So I really want to thank you both for sharing yourselves and your friendships with us. I've really enjoyed this interaction, and even little Flynn, I'm sure he'll learn something from this beautiful interview. So thank you so much for your time, ladies.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. No, it's been so good. I was a bit nervous at first, but it's like it's just so easy and natural. I didn't think too much.
Oh, that's nice, and it's great. Like you really respect each other's space, and you just gel, right? So that's lovely. So that was really wonderful. Thank you, girls.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you for being here with us at the Red Hot Truth podcast. If you loved it as much as we did, please download this episode, share it with your friends, and remember to subscribe. Your time to shine is now. See you next time. Ciao, Bella.